Bonjour. Pour ceux qui ne me connaissent pas, je m'appelle Charles Thibodeau et je suis coordonnateur du programme des approches fondées sur la nature ici au réseau environnemental du Nouveau-Brunswick. Je serai votre hôte pour cette série de webinaires. For those who don't know me, my name is Charles Thibodeau and I am the Nature-Based Climate Approaches Coordinator here at the New Brunswick Environmental Network, and I'll be your host for this webinar series. Un rappel que l'interprétation simultanée est disponible. Si vous en avez besoin, choisissez l'icône Zoom appropriée. Simultaneous translation is available. Please select the appropriate interpretation Zoom button on the bottom of your screen. If you do not require translation, please stay here in the main channel. J'aimerais commencer aujourd'hui par reconnaître que je me trouve sur les terres non cédées du peuple Mi'kmaq, mais que les gens qui participent virtuellement, pour la plupart, se trouvent également sur les terres non cédées des peuples Mi'kmaq, Wolastoqey et Passamaquoddy. Ce grand territoire, nommé Wabanaki, est couvert par les traités de paix et d'amitié que ces peuples ont signés pour la première fois avec la couronne britannique en 1726. Les traités ne portaient pas sur la cession des terres et des ressources, mais reconnaissaient en fait les titres de ces peuples et établissaient les règles de ce qui devait être une relation permanente entre les nations. Je demande que nous saisissons toute cette occasion pour réfléchir à notre relation avec la Terre et au processus continu de colonisation et de décolonisation qui ont un impact profond sur le travail des activistes et des environnementalistes.
On the work of activists and environmentalists. The concept of two-eyed seeing and planning over 7 generations, other forms of knowledge, traditional native knowledges are essential to assure a sustainable future for our planet.
Alors, bienvenue tout le monde.
So welcome everyone to this third in a series of 4 webinars. Thank you for being with us today. A big thank you also to Jim Couture for his work as an interpreter today, and other people among our team, Paul Gregory from Nature Canada, Adam Cheeseman from Nature NB, Nat Gauguin, our technical aid, employee of the networks, and all the people participating today. Thank you also to the New Brunswick Environmental Trust Fund, which made this event possible.
For those who do not know where I work, the New Brunswick Environmental Network was established in 1991 and is a communication network that links together some 100 nonprofit environmental organizations in the province. Why is the NBEN working on nature-based climate solutions? It helps us promote our member organizations and their work, especially watershed associations and citizen groups. Also, for nature-based climate solutions to be effective, communication and cooperation with many different groups, i.e. public, private, government, must be at the core of the solution. And finally, nature-based climate solutions are not only cost-effective and last longer than conventional gray infrastructure projects, but also address climate change and sustainable development goals. From the beginning of the planning of this web series, we wanted to provide a structured and informative sessions that will help equip participants with the knowledge and tools needed to successfully incorporate nature-based solutions into their communities. It aims to educate participants on the benefits and implementation of nature-based solutions, provide case studies and practical examples of successful integration, and discuss the financial, environmental, and social advantages of nature-based solutions, including avoided costs from extreme weather events and reduced liabilities. With this in mind, we developed this 4-part webinar series, and welcome to part 4. So part 4 is our digital workshop. So whether you're a nature group who wants to work with your municipality or a municipality that wants to work with a nature group, there are great resources out there, not only digital, but also human. If you're looking for help, you can contact us at the NBEN, as well as Paul Gregory from Nature Canada. We're here to help, providing guidance and support to nature groups looking to collaborate with their local governments. If you'd like to connect, please do so. So today, we have 3 great other resources and terrific individuals as well, who want to present these digital tools to you. So the first person, I guess, I don't know why I just called myself a wonderful individual, but I'll leave that to you to figure that out if that's true or not. I'll be presenting to you the benefit cost analysis tool for nature-based solutions that we're hosting on the NBEN website. Following me will be Jenna Miller from CLIMAtlantic, who will be presenting and talking about the Coastal Adaptation Toolkit. And finally, we'll have Arshad Akhtar from the Federation of Canadian Municipalities talking about their Building Climate Resilience into Asset Management online course. So I'm going to transition to my nature-based solution slide. Fast forward a bit. So we've been working on nature-based solutions at the NBN since 2016, working with Nature New Brunswick. In 2018, we started working more closely with land use planners, engineers, and technicians, as well as landscapers and nurseries in Atlantic Canada. This work led us to develop a community of practice website and a case study map and many different types of trainings and outreach activities. In 2021, we shifted towards working with municipalities a lot closer as we develop new resources to engage with them and help them implement nature-based climate solutions. A spin-off with that was the creation of the benefit cost analysis tool, which was launched in 2024. So what the tool does, excuse me, is it compares a gray infrastructure project to its green alternative and generates a benefit cost analysis, benefit cost ratio. It's quite a data-driven task, but it helps support, I guess, the promotion of nature-based solutions, and also is a wonderful educational tool because you get to know all the advantages and benefits that green solutions can bring that are often not present in conventional gray infrastructure projects. So the BCA tool helps identify the direct and indirect contributions of nature-based solutions, such as the monetary valuation of ecosystem services, as well as the other benefits mentioned. The website, hopefully it'll be pasted in the chat now. That's where the BCA tool is hosted. If you navigate yourself through the resource section, you can find the tool there, as well as supporting implementation, a utilization guide, and others information. So the BCA tool was developed by Green Analytics. And what it does, it puts together 3 databases. The one on the monetary value of nature-based solutions, the benefits of nature-based solutions, the cost to implement nature-based solutions, and then finally a third database with the cost of gray infrastructure. They then developed an overarching process of decision-making, and Panchroma, another partner of ours, adapted this framework process to an online interactive web tool. The process of the tool starts by identifying the type of nature-based solution you want to implement. Currently, the tool covers 5 such solutions. We have beach nourishment and sand dune restoration, oyster reef restoration, seagrass and seagrass meadow restoration, wetland and salt marsh restoration, and also naturalized stormwater ponds. This helps us address stormwater runoff and erosion, which are huge issues that we have to deal with. We're actually looking at expanding this and possibly including 4 other categories. We're looking at rivers and floodplains, urban green, which would be green roofs, greenways, tidal wetlands and peatland preservation, and living shorelines. So after you've selected what type of nature-based solution, you then identify the benefits you expect the project will bring forward. The tool then finds all the values in the benefits database relevant to the type of green infrastructure project you're planning. You can then choose the value that makes most sense for your project. Once that is done, you identify the avoided gray infrastructure costs, the cost that you are avoided by implementing its green alternative, and yeah, those estimated savings in that calculation. So the rest of the process is identifying which costs apply to the project and either inputting your real cost data or again, selecting cost estimates from our databases. The results will provide you with a benefit cost ratio. If the results are greater than 1, the benefits outweigh the costs. So I'm going to go in a little bit more detail now. and show you a little bit more of the types of questions that the tool is going to ask you before it can generate a benefit cost ratio. So the step one here, so before beginning a project assessment, the tool is going to gather information just like the name of the project, a brief description, what are the issues or hazards influencing the local, the project, why is it being sought, and what are the non-monetary benefits that can be derived from this project. There's a multitude of selections that you can choose from. So once that information is gathered, we will go in a little bit more detail in creating this analysis. You'll be asked to put in or select a discount rate, a time frame for the project, what nature-based climate solution category that you will be implementing, and here's the list of the anticipated benefits for this project. So this is a bunch just of ticking information. Discount rate, usually for a green infrastructure project, Treasury Board of Canada recommends 3%. This is most likely because it takes time for these natural assets to grow. If you think of a tree, it can take 60, 80 years to mature. So that's why the time frame of these projects are usually at the 50-year base for the analysis work. We also recommend that you do 3 analyses. One ideal, I guess, one more optimistic, and one more pessimistic. And then at the end, you can look at all 3 results and move forward with that. Hopefully that'll give you a better perspective of the numbers you're playing with and the project that you're envisioning as well. So step 3, once the assessment questions have been filled out, the following series of questions will be asked for each selected benefit. So if you selected water quality improvement, artistic appeal, educational opportunities, all those 3 benefits, you will have to go through this set of questions to give more information and help quantify and generate a result. The tool then moves on to the avoided gray alternatives, the cost there. So again, identifying the avoided construction, putting actual numbers there or pulling numbers from our database, and feeding the tool again to generate that benefit cost ratio. Step 5 focuses on the costing of all this. So we want to know the capital expenditures, what amount of money you're going to be putting in to implement the nature-based solution, operating and maintenance costs as well. Usually those are the 2 costs that people go with, but of course the analysis can be much more in-depth, and you can put transaction costs in there, opportunity costs, the service costs. Let's say you have to purchase land to put something together. This is where that can be addressed. And this is the type of questions that will be asked for that step there. So at the end, after filling the information for the anticipated costs and the avoided gray infrastructure and quantifying the benefits, the results will be generated by the BCA tool. And this is an example of part of the information that will come out from the report after you go through the process. It's like I said, it's a very data-intensive exercise. We're actually looking at creating a simpler tool as well, where a lot of this work would be done in the background. So for people that are not well-versed in financial analysis, they won't have to do all this work. But nonetheless, it's proving to be a valuable tool. Most green infrastructure projects in this area have used this to kind of justify their existence and promote project proposals or put that in there to get funding to move ahead on such initiatives. I want to give you an example of what this type of analysis looks like. For those that were here on part 2, I'm going to be giving you a case example of the Kokang Marina, which Serge La Rochelle presented. They're using the living shoreline approach and wastewater retention ponds and many other things that they've done there. So the two areas that you see on the map here, you can see the marina and how it looks towards the Atlantic Ocean. The buildings you see here with the red roofs were all lost during Fiona and past events as well. So it's really at the front of climate change. All the coastal communities in New Brunswick know what I'm talking about. So they had, they had a proposal moving forward to address this, where they would put in a new 100-meter long rock wall, hard infrastructure. The estimated cost for that was just over $160,000. So the counter proposal there was to look at a multi-solution approach, incorporating a living shoreline and wetland restoration project. The area covered by this property is roughly around 10 hectares, and the cost of the restoration projects was estimated at over $500,000 over 50 years. So this is the type of information they had going into the exercise before entering the information into the BCA tool. So once working with the BCA tool, they used these figures and then they identified the benefits that their solution would bring forward. Benefits like increased biodiversity, carbon sequestration, education and outreach, protection for coastal flooding, recreation and tourism, reduction of surface runoff and erosion, aesthetics and inspiration for outdoor and public art installations. So these are all benefits that the conventional infrastructure might not have presented to the community there. And again, the database helps you evaluate these benefits and puts a monetary value on those using other green infrastructure projects from around the world. We're also developing a contribution feature so we can start collecting local information to kind of add more precision into the benefit cost analysis ratio exercise. So yeah, stay tuned, and there's new features coming to the BCA tool. So entering all this information in the tool, they generated a benefit cost ratio of 7.5 to 1, which obviously is greater than 1. So in this case here, the benefits greatly outweighed the cost, and the Cook Marina is off and running with beautiful green infrastructure projects. Just some pictures of those two areas I marked in the beginning of the map, area 1 and 2. This is working with the existing rock wall and kind of hybridizing it or softening it, incorporating plants and shrubs in there. Photo 2 is where the riprap wall was supposed to be installed, but instead they're moving towards a more living shorelines approach, and it's been working quite well since, as for folks that participated in Serge's presentation. Here's some more pictures. So our next steps for our BCA tool, I did mention a few of them. We're going to be moving forward, hopefully, with developing a simpler version of the tool. We're also going to be developing a contribution feature where folks working on green solutions, green infrastructure projects can add information to our databases, so others can generate more precise results. We're going to be exploring more funding opportunities to expand the tool as well to all Atlantic provinces here. We're working closely with CLIMAtlantic and other partners in Wabanaki to address nature-based solutions. And as I also mentioned, we want to expand the scope of the tool to incorporate responses to other impacts of climate change, notably urban green and living shorelines. I think those can bring us a lot of momentum in addressing climate change through green infrastructure projects. So that's what I wanted to present today. Thank you for your attention. The link has been shared with you. It'll be shared with you again. Keep an eye on your inboxes too. If you have any other questions, you can send me an email. I'm guessing you all have my email address. We can work together on specific projects. We're here to help, so take advantage of that. That's it for me. So I'm going to be moving ahead now to Jenna. Jenna's going to be talking about the Coastal Adaptation Toolkit. And I can give my voice a little break. Thank you, Jenna. Thank you, everyone.
Thanks, Charles. Yeah, so today Shall mention, I will be talking about CLIMAtlantic's coastal. You could go to the next slide for me, please.
Yeah, Jenna, maybe you can turn your video off. We're getting some
Okay,
hiccups on
sorry.
your audio.
Yeah, sorry everybody. I have a bad internet connection today. So I'm hoping that I'll turn my video off so that it won't use as much power and hopefully my voice won't be interrupted too much. Yeah, so CLIMAtlantic's coastal adaptation toolkit is available on our website under the tools bracket along the top menu. It was publicly released in March of 2023, so we're coming up on our 2-year anniversary of that. And it's a project where we worked with quite a few partners. It was funded by ECCC, and we worked with St. Mary's University Transcoastal Adaptation Center for Nature-Based Solutions, as well as the Dalhousie University School of Planning and CBCL engineers. Within the Coastal Adaptation Toolkit, there are 2 different interactive tools, as well as 3 guidance documents. Can you go to the next slide, please? So the 2 different dynamic online tools, the main coastal adaptation tool is designed for communities. This takes into account land use planning options, as well as engineered and nature-based approaches that communities can take to reduce erosion and flooding risks in their communities. So the main way that the tool works, it's a dynamic questionnaire in which some of your answers to different questions will bring you to further questions depending on how you answered. And then we also have a simplified version of the tool that's designed specifically for property owners that takes out the land use planning side of things that's present within the community tool, since no individual property owner can do land use planning or community scale things. Can you go? Oh, sorry, actually. And yes, I also mentioned that there are 3 guidance documents that go along with the toolkit. So the first one is all about coastal adaptation in Atlantic Canada. It gives a background on how climate change is impacting Atlantic Canada's coasts, different processes of coastal erosion and coastal flooding, which are what the tool deals with, the impacts of, and different adaptation approaches and how they can be utilized in tandem. The second guidance document is all about land use planning in Atlantic Canada. It gives a background on each of the 4 provinces, as well as all of the different tools that are available or mentioned within the interactive tool. It gives background on all of those with case studies and examples of their use as well. And then similarly, the third guidance document covers all of the coastal intervention options, which are nature-based approaches and engineering options that exist within the 2 online tools. Talking about how some might be used in connection with others when they work better together, and background on each of them, as well as case studies and examples of their use in Atlantic Canada. Next slide, please. So one of the main things to know when you are using one of the to dynamic online tools is that you need to be thinking about one specific site or location, which could be a full coastal property, or it might have to be a section of it or a specific location within your community that has a similar coastal environment. So some of the questions, I will come to those in a minute, but some of the questions that it asks will be about the different types of coastal environments that exist and protection structures, if there are any engineered protection structures or things like that. And the tool can't discern between different pieces of your coastline that might have different things going on. So what you need to do is think of one specific site or location that has a sort of uniform environment or structure or not. So in this example, or in these examples, one of the locations within the dotted box where the environment differs from like the wide open beach on one side adjacent or the arbor rock on the other side. And this is just to give you the best possible results when going through the tool. And then the suggestion is that if you have multiple different types of coastal environments, to run through the tool multiple times for each of those individual sites. And within the list of options available to you at the end, some will have an asterisk next to them if they are something that could be more widely applicable across multiple sites. Next slide, please. So just to give you a quick run through about things that you need to know in order to fill out the coastal adaptation tool. The first question will be what province you're located within and what type of community you're located within. This is especially important for the main communities tool and the different land use planning options that are available to you. Because if you are in a rural area that's unincorporated, the options will differ than if you're in a large city, for example. And most of us being located within New Brunswick, one of the engineered solutions groins are not legal within New Brunswick. So those are immediately taken out of consideration, for example. On the main community tool, you're also asked about types of plans or planning tools that are already in use in your community and who has planning authority. So do you have a coastal adaptation plan? Do you have a shoreline management plan? Do you have an asset management plan already in existence? And if not, those things are taken into consideration in the responses that you get. Also, one of the more difficult questions for you to answer would be how long you have to adapt to the flooding and or erosion issues that you're facing. This is probably one of the, I would say, most difficult questions for you to answer because you're most likely going to want to say, oh, well, I don't know when the next storm is going to hit and I'm going to be impacted. So I want to adapt as fast as possible. But the reason that we have this question in the tool is to deal with some of the really big land use planning options or really large scale engineering, hard engineering options, or even some of the nature-based approaches where it takes them time to grow. So if you need something to be in place now, they might not be the best solution because they might take a few years to get in place. And also, one thing that you can see in the image in this, it's probably not great resolution, but it's an example of how we've tried to make the tool as user-friendly as possible. So when we're asking questions, for a lot of things, we tried to include photo examples of what we're asking you about. And for example, with the types of land use plans and planning tools, we have a list of all of them at the bottom of the page with that question, with descriptions of them to try to help you understand what we're asking. Next slide, please. So other questions that you will be asked when filling out the tool. It is designed to help deal with erosion and or flooding issues. So you'll be asked first if you're dealing with erosion or flooding or both. And then you'll be asked follow-up questions about the erosion or flooding that's happening. So is erosion happening to a protective structure that might exist there? Are there already natural features like dunes or a spit or engineered structures like riprap present in the site that you're describing? And are those things being damaged or eroded, or are they potentially causing damage to adjacent areas? This one is something that comes up in the property owner's version as well, where there's an added question about whether the features or engineered structures might be causing damage to your neighbor's properties, with a suggestion that, or their, what structures they might have on their property that might be impacting your property, with the suggestion to talk to your neighbors and work together on these issues. And whether erosion is happening in front of a structure, next to it, behind it. Is flooding happening from storm surge? Is erosion happening at the base of a cliff? Is flooding happening more so from fresh water draining after big rainstorms? You're also asked what type of material or environment is present on the site. So is it hard rock like granite? Is it soft rock like sandstone? Is it a sandy beach? Is it a wetland? Is it a hard built environment like the Halifax waterfront, for example? Because that impacts the options that are available to you. Like you might not be able to plant vegetation and use some of our nature-based approaches on a hard granite surface where there's no topsoil to plant on. Another question is about sediment supply. This one is pretty much specifically for a couple of the nature-based approaches of beach nourishment and dune building, where they require a supply of sediment in order to be constructed. So the question is whether it's naturally available, like it might have just washed into the near shore during a storm, or it might be able to be trucked in or not. There's also a question about the slope of the site. So is it a really steep cliff? Is it a really flat beach or somewhere in between? And how exposed it is to waves. So is it wide open on the Atlantic Ocean, or is it in a relatively protected embayment somewhere where it doesn't get as big of waves? And that could be impactful to some of the more nature-based approaches as well, where bigger waves aren't as conducive to their ability to grow because they're more likely to be impacted and washed away by large waves. And finally, there's a question about whether retreat is possible on this site if there is already infrastructure that's at risk. And this is probably the only question in the questionnaire where saying no isn't going to take away retreat as a possible option for you. Retreat is the one option in the tool that will always be listed as possible. Or at least there'd be a little bit of concern if you say no. Next slide, please. So overall, after you answer all of these questions, you're presented with the results in the form of a really long list of 27 possible engineering and coastal intervention options, which are nature-based approaches. There are 5 different nature-based approaches and another 5 that are hybrid between hard-built and more green nature-based out of those 27. And then in the community tool, there's 34 different land use planning tools. And these are all listed by how well ranked they are for you. So those that are good or have or are most optimal would be at the top of the list, and so on and so forth. And important in the consideration of the nature-based approaches versus hard-built structures is that there are some extra things that are built into the background of the tool, other considerations that aren't taken into account by the questions, things like aesthetics and swimming safety and impacts on biodiversity, where a lot of the hard-built, hard-engineered structures will have some will never be listed as good options because of their negative impacts on these things. So that's just something to note. And yeah, these results, like I mentioned, if they are applicable across multiple sites, there will be an asterisk next to their name. And you can, from the results page, click on any one that you're interested in to get a kind of 2-pager that are pulled from the guidance documents to learn more details about them, how they might be, how expensive they might be, or how difficult to put in place, what kind of specialists you might need to talk to. And this is all kind of assumed to be a first step in understanding your property or sites within your community before you talk to professionals that can actually construct these things and give advice based on your exact site. Yeah, that's most of what there is to know about the coastal adaptation tool. Your results are downloadable in PDF form and an Excel file that you can manipulate and look at. And if you have any questions about the tool or any difficulty running through it, questions about your results, please feel free to reach out to me, or if you're in one of the other Atlantic provinces, some of the other provincial specialists, but you can always reach out to me about it. And we're happy to run through the tool with anybody one-on-one who's looking for help with it, or to help analyze your results if you have questions about them. And yeah, here's my contact information. Thank you.
Thank you, Jenna. I've used the tool. It's quite useful. Again, like the BCA tool is the educational component that's behind it. Once you go through the exercise, you learn a lot as well. So thanks for that. I'll be sharing all the presentations as well at the end. So you'll get all this contact information then. So let's move on to our third presenter today. Thanks again, Jenna.
Thank you.
Arshad. I'll upload his presentation here. So as I mentioned, Arshad's with the Federation of Canadian Municipalities, and he's going to be discussing their new online course entitled Building Climate Resilience with Asset Management. Over to you.
Thank you, Charles. Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Arshad Akhtar. I've been at FCM for about 1.5 years now. And this course that I'm going to be sharing with you today was actually the first project that I worked on. So I'm really excited to have this opportunity to introduce the Building Climate Resilience with Asset Management, or BICRM course, with you today. Before I do get into my presentation, I have a very quick request for the attendees here. Some of our team members are trying to gather some basic stats to help us understand the reach and impact of this course. So I would really appreciate it if you are willing to share your name, gender, organization, and email with me. And I want to be very clear that we're not going to be using your data to put you on any mailing list. The information will only be used to see which participants go on to take the course. And again, this is completely optional. It's going to help us track the course of the impact. So if you are comfortable, please share that information with me in the private chat. So now that we have that out of the way, let's get into my presentation. So in the next 15 minutes or so, I'm going to walk you through what the course is all about, like why it was developed, how it can help municipalities integrate climate considerations into asset management, the 12-step framework that it's built on. I'm also going to give you an overview of the course structure, the key features, how you can access it, and then hopefully by the end of the session, you're going to have a clear understanding of how this course can support your municipality in building climate resilience through asset management. So before getting into the course, I want to take a step back and sort of share why this work is really important. We know that climate change is no longer a distant threat. It's already affecting our communities across Canada. More frequent and intense weather events like flooding, wildfires, and heat waves are putting a significant stress on our municipal infrastructure and services. Aging infrastructure is particularly vulnerable, and we're also noticing that the negative impacts of climate are often felt by those who are already at risk. So, for example, during a flooding event, our seniors who may already have limited mobility and rely on public transportation may find it increasingly difficult to evacuate. Also, the cost of inaction is quite high when municipalities don't plan ahead. They end up facing higher costs for emergency repairs, service disruptions, and infrastructure failures. So if you're in the municipal world, you know that reactive approaches are always more expensive than proactive planning. And that's not just in financial terms, but also in terms of communities' well-being and safety. So this is why municipalities need to take action now. And this course was designed to help them take that first step. And while it may not cover everything that you can do, it is a great starting point to show municipalities how you can take action so that your municipalities are more resilient and better prepared for the future. Next slide, please. So you might be asking, why do we need climate resilient asset management? Well, because climate change is already affecting municipal infrastructure and services, and these impacts will only increase over time. So if municipalities aren't considering climate in their long-term planning or decision-making processes, they're risking service disruptions, higher maintenance costs, and infrastructure failures that could have been prevented. Asset management, as we know, is fundamentally about long-term planning and informed decision-making. Traditionally, we would focus on things like service levels, the condition of your infrastructure, the life cycle costs of assets, and the risks and how to manage them. With climate change, we're seeing new challenges come up: extreme weather, shifting temperatures, changing precipitation patterns. They're directly affecting how infrastructure performs and how they're able to provide service. So by adopting a climate resilient asset management approach, municipalities can proactively identify risks. They can optimize their infrastructure investments, and they can build more resilient communities. And this is going to result in them being able to maintain reliable services, reduce costly emergency repairs, and ensure that their infrastructure will be able to withstand the impacts of a changing climate. Next slide, please. Okay, so let's talk about resilience and what that looks like. Being a resilient municipality isn't just about protecting your infrastructure. It's about ensuring the communities can continue to thrive despite climate challenges. So resilient means that when you have extreme weather events or long-term climate change shifts occur, that your municipality can maintain your essential services and minimize disruptions and also be able to recover more quickly. One of the best ways that somebody described resilience to me was that it's like being able to take a punch. So it's not about avoiding the challenges, but about having the strength to bounce back when they do come. So a truly resilient municipality doesn't just react to disasters as they happen. They're anticipating risk, they're planning ahead, and they're building the capacity to adapt. So this means that you're integrating climate considerations into your decision-making processes, you're strengthening your infrastructure, and you're ensuring that your municipal services are going to be reliable under changing conditions, even when the unexpected challenges come up. And it's also important to note that resilience isn't built in isolation. It requires collaboration across the organizational departments and your leadership. Municipal planners, engineers, emergency managers, the community stakeholders, they all have a role to play. And so by working together, municipalities can strengthen their ability to withstand climate impacts and create a more sustainable future for their residents. Next slide, please. Okay, so let's talk about the course itself. The Bikram course, it's an online self-paced learning opportunity. It's tailored specifically for local governments. Initially, it was offered as a synchronous course under the MSIP program from FCM, and we recently updated it as an asynchronous course under the MAN program. And although the MAN program ended in October of last year, the course is still available on our LMS. We've designed this course to help municipalities integrate climate considerations into their existing asset management practices, allowing them to be more proactive in addressing their climate risks. The course is built on a 12-step framework, and it comes from a guide called Guide for Integrating Climate Change Considerations into Asset Management Plan, and this guide was also developed under the MSIP program. The content of this course, it's informed by best practices. We've included practical real-world examples that show municipalities how they can take action now to build resilience and adapt to future climate challenges. And also, the course is available in both English and French. Next slide, please. Thank you. So the course is made up of 10 modules. Each one is designed to take about 30 to 45 minutes to complete. The first two modules, they cover foundational concepts. It gives the learners a solid understanding of the key principles. And then the remaining modules dive into the 12-step framework in greater detail, which offer practical guidance on how to apply it. And to support your learning process, we've included an activity book that's going to help the learners connect the concepts to their own municipality. Additionally, we've also introduced a fictional municipality called My Town, which shows how a community can implement the framework. So through My Town, we not only walk through the 12 steps, but we're also highlighting some of the common challenges that municipalities face. And then the course also offers solutions to overcome them. Next slide, please. Thank you. So this is the 12-step framework that is the backbone of the Bikram course. It's built around a 12-step process that's organized into 4 key phases: identification, assessment, prioritization, and management. The structured approach really helps municipalities integrate climate change considerations in a systematic way. So by following these steps, your municipality can effectively address climate risks and ensure that service delivery is going to remain sustainable in the face of changing climate conditions. And I'm going to get into the four phases and the steps in the next few slides. So next slide, please. So the first phase is identification, and this phase lays the foundation for climate resilient asset management. It consists of 5 key steps, starting with identifying the services that your municipality provides, and then the assets that support the service delivery. From there, the next step is to gather local climate data and assess which climate hazards could impact your community. And then the final step focuses on defining your current and target levels of service. And to support your process here, the course does come with some templates to help you document this information, as well as links to reputable climate data sources that can assist your municipality in the assessment. Next slide, please. The phase 2 is called the assessment phase, and this is where a lot of the analysis takes place. This step includes 3 steps that will help municipalities take a deeper look at the service levels and the climate risks. So first, the municipalities must identify any gaps between the current and target service levels, and then they assess how climate change could affect those service levels over time. And then finally, they'll evaluate climate risks from multiple different perspectives to understand the potential impacts on their community. And to support this process, the course will include key templates and resources, including a dynamic Excel tool that we built, which helps municipalities identify potential risks to different service areas based on various climate hazards. So the tool contains a list of some common climate hazards that you're able to select from the list, and then you go on to select the service area that you're interested in from a drop-down list, and then you'll be presented with all of the potential impacts you might have on your assets and services. So together, these tools really make it easier to systematically assess your vulnerabilities, and so that you can plan accordingly. Next slide, please. So the prioritization phase consists of 2 key steps. So once the municipalities have identified their climate risk and their service level gaps, the next step is to develop and prioritize solutions. So these solutions could include retrofitting your infrastructure, integrating nature-based solutions, or making updates to your policies and processes to enhance resilience. And the course will guide participants through this decision-making process, helping them assess and prioritize actions based on factors like cost, effectiveness, and social and environmental impacts. And again, to support this, these modules include templates that will help municipalities document and rank their actions in a structured way. Next slide, please. And then the final phase is management. And this phase focuses on turning your plans and actions into, turning your plans into actions. And to ensure that there's going to be ongoing progress. So this phase includes two key steps. The first one is about integrating your adaptation strategies or actions into your municipal asset management plans or processes. And the second one is really about fostering a culture of continuous improvement. And the course will provide you guidance on how municipalities can embed these actions into your long-term planning or decision-making processes, just to ensure that resilience efforts will remain effective and adaptive over time. So that's a very quick overview of the 12 steps and the 4 phases. Next, I want to talk about how this course could support you. So next slide, please. So like I said, the Bikram course is really designed to be practical, and it is a long-term resource that you can revisit throughout your adaptation journey, rather than completing it all at once. Think of it as a guide that's going to support your municipality as you make progress through each step. And to help you along the way, We've included a variety of tools, resources, real-world examples at every step of the framework. And then at the end of each step, you'll also find a role-playing scenario, the My Town municipality, which is going to illustrate how a municipality might apply these concepts in practice. We spent a lot of time and effort into developing this course. We truly believe that it offers valuable insights to support your asset management and climate adaptation efforts. And best of all, it's completely free. So we do encourage you to dive in and start today. Next slide, please. So yeah, as I mentioned, the course is completely free. But you will have to register through FCM's Learning Management System, or LMS. If you've taken an FCM course before, there's that first link you see on the screen. The second one, if you haven't taken, if you're new to the platform, you'll need to complete a registration step before accessing. So that's the second link. And the third link that we've provided is the link to the original 12-step framework guide. The guide's going to give you additional context and background on the framework that the course is built upon. And these links will be shared with you at the end of the webinar. That concludes my presentation. I want to thank you for your time and interest. I hope that you do register for the course and find value. That's all I had to share today. Thank you so much, and I'll hand it back to you, Charles.
Thank you, Rashad. Thank you, Jenna. I'm looking at the time. I don't think we have much time since this is the last of our 4-part webinar series. I have a lot of notes to and people to thank. But if you do have questions, feel free to send them to anybody that's been on presenting today. Just send them directly to them. Thank you, Jenna. Thank you, Rashad, for your insightful presentations. That course, Arshad, looks very interesting. Special thanks to James as well for his interpretation work today, and to Nat for providing technical support. Also a big thank you to Nature Canada, Paul Gregory there, and Nature New Brunswick, Adam Cheeseman, who greatly contributed to creating this webinar series. I also want to extend my gratitude to everyone who participated. Thank you for joining us in exploring nature-based solutions over the last 4 weeks. Whether you're just starting or already working on a nature-based climate solution project, as you can see, there are resources and a network of support available to help you succeed. Reach out to any of the organizers on this web series. Share your project on Nature Canada's natural project map. Take advantage of these tools that we've presented to you to strengthen your impact. Through sustainable and eco-friendly architecture, we can work in harmony with the environment to create a more balanced and resilient future. By embracing nature's wisdom, we can improve our well-being, lower our ecological impact, and deepen our connection to the world around us. Together, let's aim to build communities that flourish in synergy with nature, ensuring a healthier planet for future generations. Everybody, thank you once more. Be well, everyone. Bye. Have a good week.
Thanks, Charles. Great job.